Thank you. I'm very honored to be here, particularly among the presence of my distinguished colleagues. It's been intriguing to sit here and to listen to these wonderful and illuminated perspectives. I was thinking about what the professor said and the concepts of his learned philosophical and psychological observations. And I was thinking about these concepts and what they boil down to. And what we really learn here is that we have to learn to share, and we have to learn to work together, because without that, I believe that you're correct, we are in a hopeless situation. These things that we learn in our childhood. We learn these principles of sharing. We learn these principles of interaction when we're young. And these are things that we have to consider in our parenting. These are the things that we have to consider when we work with our children. Because these are the constructive elements that we teach our children in their very young years, in their kindergarten years. We teach, how do we share? How do we work together? How do we build trust? Trust is something that we build in our child's minds. This is not something we're going to reconsider. Education is the primary aspect of creating peace. You look at David Axelrod and his career. He chose his career, the beginning choices of working in the White House began at 5 years old. His decision to move forward to work with President Obama was something that came to him when he was 5. As a parent, we see our children, and we know, I'm a mother of 3 children. My children are adopted, and of course, my children are all very different, but mothers who have birth children, we all see our children and understand that each children from the day they're born has a distinct and separate destiny, has a distinct and separate personality. We provide boundaries and a framework within which those children grow and develop. But David, I'm pretty sure you understood as you grew up where you were headed, and in your speech and your very specific discussion about leadership, we understood that good leadership, really good leadership, visionary leadership, was the ability to say what was right and what was good and what was the right avenue to take against standing in the mire of the status quo. It's rather simplistic if you think about it, but it takes a great deal of courage to do the right thing against the heavy weight of the foot standing in the status quo, against standing in the pain of the things from the past, against standing in the demands that we feel are the weight of what we need against what is right. The vision of saying, we recognized Israel as a state is what is right. The vision of saying we must reinstitute the car business in America, or the vision to say it is a time for peace, against saying our needs and our demands. If we said we don't recognize Israel as a state because we were staying in the status quo, we would be standing not in our courage, not in what is right, but the status quo. If we say now, we're not going to go for peace, we're not going to go for that because it's too difficult, it's hopeless, it doesn't work, we're standing in the status quo. When we look at online dating and the principles of what you were talking about, what we're essentially saying is love comes from affinity. Love comes from a shared reality. Love comes from interaction. If we don't agree to allow ourselves to have interaction, to understand that we're a global community, then we stand in the past. We stand mired in hopelessness. We stand not accepting the things that we're supposed to learn in kindergarten. Trust, sharing, the elemental facts of what we are supposed to learn as children. We stand in things from the past that we don't even remember anymore. We stand in our ego. We do not stand in the principles of love, the things that we all want more than any other thing. Though we were interested in the professor, though we were engaged with David Axelrod, everyone came to life when we were thinking about what would it be like to have love. Because in the end, what we really, really want is love. What we really, really want in the human heart is joy, happiness, and someone standing next to us who loves us, who accepts our love and accepts us as we are. Yes, in our fantasies. Yes, in the truth of who we are, maybe 1 inch shorter than we wish we were. Maybe a little bit different than the picture we picked out when we looked a little prettier than maybe we are. When we looked a little bit taller, when we looked a little bit lighter or darker, when it wasn't our very best day. We want someone who accepts us the way we believed that we could be when we were 5 years old. We want someone who loves us when we feel hopeful, good. We want someone who will stand by us when we do the right thing. When we feel our courage and we say, we will do the right thing against the status quo. When we will stand up for what we really believe is the right and good thing to do. And inside every human heart is the loving being. Because when we look at a baby, any baby at all, Palestinian, Egyptian, Syrian, Darfurian, we look at that little foot. We look at that chubby little leg, that little ear, and we just want to bite it. We think that's a delicious little baby. We do. And when that little baby's this big, and this big, and this big, and like David, 5 and full of dreams, we want that baby to be an asset to the leadership that the professor knows is so, so necessary. But that baby is an individual, like you, an individual with dreams and hopes and the great ability to stand up for what he knows is true and good, with a visionary voice, just like David talked about. A visionary voice that can stand up for the dream against the lost and pulled down into the mire of the past and can say, I will do what is right. Each and every one of you has that piece of leadership within you. Each and every one of you is a leader of that thing that is right within you, a leader that goes beyond the status quo, a leader who will say, more than anything else, I want love. I want the love that will come to me, a love that will come to my fellow man, a love that will lift me up, a love that is visionary. That visionary love is a voice of peace. That visionary love is a voice of the future for yourself, for your children, for your nation, for the global reality. Thank you.